Hey everyone, this is Shishir Kinkar with technobs.com. As you might be aware, Google's annual developer conference named Google I/O ended this week, and they had a lot of announcements to make regarding the next version of Android, Android M. We do not know yet what this M stands for, and it's only a matter of time before this name surfaces. But the best part about this was that Google released the developer preview of Android M immediately after the keynote. So that means developers or early adopters or enthusiasts can download and get early access to Android M right now on their Nexus 5, Nexus 6 or Nexus 9. These are the only supported devices right now, and if you are interested in flashing to any of them, you will need to unlock the device and flash the downloaded image to it. Once you download and flash Android M to your device, it will be updated over the air for any further release by Google till the stable version of Android M is released. I will leave a few links down in the description below which can help you through the entire process if you are interested in doing so. Otherwise, I'm taking a look at the major features announced as well as some other tweaks that are seen through the OS in this video. So I have divided the features and tweaks seen in Android M into three categories. So under features that directly impact the way users interact with Android OS, the first and most important one is permissions. As per the current permissioning model on Android OS, apps request for permission from the OS and they are told to you as FYI that these apps require these permissions. You have no control over whether that app should have that permission or whether you want to give that app that permission or not. With Android M, this feature is becoming more granular, giving you greater control over which permission is being used by which app. For instance, the Chrome application requires permission to say your camera or microphone, and you do not want your browser to have that permission. So now you have the option to go and disable it. Considering that the open app permissioning model has been widely exploited in the Play Store, like live wallpaper applications requiring access to your location or contacts or even your internet usage, that is not required, and with this model you will be able to control it. The second major feature is inbuilt support for fingerprint readers in the Android OS. So flagship Android devices like the S6, which I am currently reviewing, or even iOS devices like iPhone or iPhone 6 Plus have fingerprint reader in the devices. But the thing is that this is custom implementation, like Samsung has implemented the fingerprint reader and its API and it uses it on its phones. This is an excellent step taken by Google because it is a really good user experience when a fingerprint reader is built in the phone. I did not use it before my current devices, but right now on iPhone 6 and S6, it is like the most used feature for me because that's how I unlock my phone, that's how I pay for services. So it's excellent and I'm glad it's coming for stock Android, which means more and more OEMs will adopt it. Talking of purchasing apps or anything else brings me to a major feature that is coming in the next version of Android, which is Android Pay. It's not a very innovative name. You can see the similarity between Apple Pay and Samsung Pay, and now you have Android Pay. So the fingerprint support and Android Pay are quite complementary features and they will really shape your experience of Android M. The fourth feature, called Now on Tap, is perhaps the coolest one of the lot. You all have used Google Now. They are information cards that are presented to you by Google based on your previous activity, interests or your designated interest areas. Now on Tap takes this way beyond what your interests are or what Google deems that you might be interested in. Now on Tap makes the Google Now feature more interactive. Let's take an example. Say you are chatting on WhatsApp with your friend and he mentions a new TV series that you haven't heard of. So now while you are on the same screen, you can hold down the home button and Google Now cards will pop up with context about that TV series. Now how accurately the system will work is not yet known, but it is a brilliant implementation of machine learning. So once this feature comes mainstream and more users will use it, it will become better and better at getting context. And Google Now as of now is not really bad at it. This is an amazing feature. Unfortunately, it's not working on the preview yet, but there are a couple of more previews to come in next month and the month after that before the final release in the third quarter. So we are expecting that we'll probably get to see Now on Tap in action before the stable release of Android M. Now, some other major features that do not directly impact the users, means you do not need to interact with them. These are system behavioral changes or something that the developers have to implement. The first one is automatic app backup. Every app that supports Android M can be automatically backed up to a limit of 25 MB per app. Now, this backup is taken on the user's Google Drive storage, though it does not count towards your space or storage amount. It's external of that, and you don't need to worry that if you use a lot of apps that will consume your Google Drive storage. The developers have some control on this. They can disable it, or maybe they can limit what all is backed. But the best part about you is that you are almost free to move across devices, Android devices specifically. And as soon as you install those apps on other device, the data is transferred to your new device and you are back to status quo. Means you can just move around devices very easily. That's so awesome, especially for people like me who are often moving across devices and it's a pain to maintain all the information that you need on the new device that you move to. So this is an excellent feature of Android M and I just can't wait to have it. Another feature of Android M is that now external SD cards can be used as internal storage. A lot of Android users have run into this problem where they felt a dire need of more internal storage, but well, they were limited. Now with this feature, the user can adopt an external SD card to act as internal storage. The way it works is that your existing SD card will be formatted and encrypted, and then it will be treated as an internal storage and it will just work. That's the beauty of it. And this is great news for a lot of people who use smartphones with less internal storage but highly expandable external SD cards. With Android M, you won't have any shortage of storage. There are a couple of new features which deal with power optimization on your device. The first one is called as App Standby. Now this is completely a developer's concern. They need to be aware of how this works. But what it is going to do is that the Android OS will determine under some specific condition when can an app be treated as idle, and if it is designated as idle, its access to network or background data sync will be stopped. And as if the user does not use this app for extended periods of time, the app will get access to network and data sync like once a day. But this will really stop a lot of apps from draining battery power while running in the background. Now, building on this app standby feature, there is another higher level battery optimization feature called as DOS. Now this feature actually makes use of your device itself being idle, not one specific app but the device. Say you have a spare Android phone that you are not using every day or regularly and you just have it around. So the Android OS will detect that it is not in use, and across the device it will cut network access and background data syncs for all the apps, pretty much putting your device in a sleep mode, which explains the feature name as DOS. These two features combined, I think it will make a big difference how the battery life of your Android phone behaves. Not only for one that is your regular device, but also for something like your spare Android device. This is something that I have high regard for when it comes to iOS devices. I always carry an iPad with me. It's in my bag. Maybe I use it once a week or sometimes even less. But whenever I go back to it, it always has power. I have never ever run into it when it was just dead. It might be low on power if I'm returning to it like say 2 or 3 weeks later, but otherwise it always has battery, and iOS does a tremendous job at power management. Let's see how much difference it makes in Android, but I'm really looking forward to this as it can give a huge boost to the battery life of Android devices. Coming to the third section of features or tweaks that are seen across the OS. One of the first ones and obvious ones is volume control. Android Lollipop had a single volume slider and you could go to only priority mode or completely silent mode or loud mode, but that was it. You had one volume slider to control the level of volume. You have individual volume sliders for the ringtone, for alarms, and for your media. This type of volume control I had used in HTC Sense and I really liked it and sort of missed it in Android Lollipop on the Nexus 9, so I'm glad now it's part of Android M and stock Android going ahead. There's also a dark theme that you can apply to your device now, but I'm not sure if this feature is meant for everybody because it's hidden deep inside in the developer options, and the effect of this change was only seen in the settings. Means the app drawer was still white and there's no other place in the OS where you can really see the impact of the dark theme, so we'll have to wait and see how this shapes up going ahead. But I really like the dark themes, so I hope it becomes an option for users to adopt it right from their settings and apply it for more parts of the OS. Talking of the app drawer, it has changed a bit. Now it has gone from horizontal scrolling to vertical. Also, it seems a lot like Yahoo's Aviate launcher, and some apps from the drawer are seen at the top of the screen, which are repeated in the app drawer again. I'm not sure if these are like promoted or prominent or frequently used apps. I have no specific like or dislike for this change, but let's see how it shapes up going ahead. Well, these are the major features that are seen in Android M. This was by no means an exhaustive list. There are many other tweaks or features that are seen in the OS, and we'll perhaps see more in the next couple of developer releases before the stable version of Android M is released this fall. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And one last thing, I vote for M to stand for MarshMallows. Let me know what your vote stands for. Later.